Alright, so this is going to be a full review of the Ninjutso Sora V2, and if I sound any different, I am using the Fifine AM8 microphone that I will have a review on soon, so yeah. Also, they did send this out to me, Nacho Customs and Ninjutso, so thank you so much to them. That does not impact my review in any way, but you can use my codes in the description. Um, yeah, and like and sub and all of that stuff. This is causing a glare, get out of there. But yeah, let's get into this review. And also, I would like to say when I first started using this mouse, I did not think I was going to actually like it as much as I did, spoiler alert, but I actually did really start to come around on it, especially the shape. Um, but before I get into that, I will give you a rundown of the specs, and everything is on the back of the box, so I'll show you that too. 39.5 grams plus 2, basically it could be 39 to 41. Mine does come out around 40 grams. The specs are 119 millimeters long, 59.8 millimeters wide, and 37.7 millimeters at its tallest. It is a very, very light mouse, and it does feel very small. It's a great fingertip. It is a great small hand claw shape. So if you have big hands, you're definitely only fingertipping this. I promise you that. But if you have small hands, you can really do whatever with this mouse. I would definitely not palm this mouse. It's not going to be comfortable. 3395 sensor. The 8K dongle I don't believe is out for this yet. I don't have one at least. I'm using the 1K, and yeah, about 80 hours of battery life is what it's rated for. So I'll show you what's in the box first, and then we'll get into a sound test and all that stuff. There's actually really nothing in the box besides you get the mouse, the blue dongle kind of thing, and your standard white cable. This cable doesn't have one of those things that like lifts the cable up or anything. It's just a standard cable. I don't think that this cable would be able to handle 8K, so they will probably give you a new cable in the box. But yeah, so I couldn't exactly find what side buttons this mouse is using, and I didn't really want to take mine apart because I don't have any different skates for it. But I'm sure most people don't really care about that. But it is using a TTC encoder, and it's using Omron optical switches. Usually I'm not a fan of Omron optical switches, but in this they actually feel really, really good. And I will give you a sound test now. Right and left click. Side buttons. Scroll wheel. So also there is a not a DPI button, there's an on-off button on the bottom here. There is no DPI button, and the skates will come off of the mouse. You have to put them on yourself. The software is also a web-based software, so yeah, no installation needed. But anyway, back to the switches and everything. The main clicks, Omron opticals are pretty hard switches to press. They're not very spammable, at least. But these ones specifically, they have very minimal pre-travel and a little bit of post-travel like they should. There's really no wobble unless you force it. You don't feel that in-game at all. And there is some nice finger grooves there. Side buttons, the side buttons are decent. They are definitely quite heavy, and there is some travel on them. I'll definitely say that much. There's actually a lot of travel on them. I can push them right into the shell and shake them back and forth. But you don't really feel that in game, and they are pretty decent. They're just heavy, but they're fine. They're like a C tier side button. The clicks are like a B plus tier, and the scroll wheel is also very, very good. The click is, you're not going to be spamming it. It is a little bit heavier, definitely, but the scroll is pretty tactile, and you can feel the steps pretty well. I also think the aesthetic of this mouse is really nice with the navy blue, especially this, whatever this says right here. Yeah, obviously no DPI button on the mouse. I usually use 3200, but there's no option for that on the mouse. So you go on to the web software, which I will show off also. The blue little extender they give you, high quality, not really going to break on you, comes with an anti-slip thing, and the cable is decently soft. You can definitely play with it while it's charging. I would say about 80 hours of battery life is pretty accurate. You definitely get a few days out of this, like basically a week, I'd say, or half a week, whatever you want to say. So there's really no complaints there. And yeah, so the shape itself is definitely a quite aggressive shape. You can see how it slopes just like this with the hump. Like I said, it's definitely a good fingertip shape and a good claw shape if you have small hands, but you are not palming this thing at all. And yeah, I have pretty small hands, and my hands just basically devour this thing. But it's weight balanced very, very nicely. It feels definitely lighter than 39 grams, honestly. And the quality on this thing is there's no creaking no matter how hard I press on this thing, um, or anything. And the coating is kind of like a chalky kind of feeling coating. Your fingers do stick to it pretty well when you drag them. It's not really, it is kind of, it's like a sticky coating. It's not really chalky, it's just kind of sticky. It's definitely not like a razor coating or anything like that. But I'd say it's kind of like the pulsar coating. That's the best way to explain it, I'd say. But yeah, other than that, I mean, there's really nothing to show off. They only give you big skates. That doesn't really matter. And the sensor obviously is only 1K hertz, 3395. For right now, the 8K is coming out, but the 1K feels great, performs fine. And I will buy the 8K dongle when it does come out. But yeah, I will show you the software and everything. So yeah. All right, so this is basically what the software looks like. It's not too in depth really, but it is web based, which is great. You basically just have your main stuff here. You have your performance stuff. I use 3200. You have your high speed mode and competitive. I use motion sync. And then yeah, you have your report rate and all of that stuff. So I'm not really sure what these modes do, but I don't really feel a difference in them. And this one, I think the only difference is motion sync. I'm like 99% sure, so it doesn't really matter. And then if you have a firmware update, you'll do this here. But it is a really, really nice software. It's actually a great software. So yeah, that's really pretty much it. Great mouse, great fingertip, claw mouse. And yeah, I hope they make a 3950 version. Definitely hope for that. And that's me in this video. Peace.